I'm still struggling to figure out how to best do hormones, both in 220 and 381, because it feels very anatomy to me. Okay, what I mean by that, it's just a lot of like I'm spitting facts. We're not necessarily integrating a lot. So bear with me as we go through this. So there's several little lectures that we're going to have. We're going to talk about primarily, each of them is going to focus on like an organ or a gland. And so what we're trying to do is learn a little bit about hormones and their what they cause, what they stimulate, and how these are affected by exercise. Okay, so one thing to remember is that exercise, or one thing to know, is exercise stimulates the hypothalamus. Okay, the hypothalamus is responsible for stimulating hormones that activate the anterior pituitary. The anterior pituitary ultimately releases 6 hormones, but we're really only going to focus on 3, and the ones that I think that are important for exercise. So the first one is growth hormone. And this is a picture of an actual man. He was from St. Louis. I can't remember his name, but he was 8 feet 11 inches tall. All right, so growth hormone is stimulated by growth hormone releasing hormone produced in the anterior pituitary, as all of these will be, and it targets most cells. Now, what it does is it causes growth, right? That's why it's called growth hormone. And it does this by causing protein synthesis. It causes us to rely more on fats and less on carbs. And during exercise, concentrations of growth hormone increase. However, once you become trained, the concentrations don't increase as much during acute exercise. And it's important to know this is acute exercise, not chronic. Okay, so that's growth hormone. Then we've got thyroid-stimulating hormone. This is stimulated by thyroid-releasing hormone produced in the anterior pituitary. Unsurprisingly, it targets the thyroid and stimulates the production of thyroid hormones T3, T4. And exercise causes release of more of this thyroid-stimulating hormone. Remember, thyroid hormone deals or affects metabolic rate, like it says here. Now, it's a little bit downstream. We're talking about this one right here. So we have to activate this one so we can activate thyroid gland, which will increase metabolic rate. The last one we're going to talk about is Adrenocorticotropin, or ACTH. Okay, this is stimulated by corticotropin releasing hormone produced in the anterior pituitary. It targets the adrenal gland, and specifically the cortex of the adrenal gland. It stimulates the release of glucocorticoids. Okay, so like glucose. Okay, so we're going to talk about what those are a little bit later. Okay, so there are many hormones that come from the adrenal cortex, but you've got glucocorticoids and mineral corticoids and things like that. So this just stimulates the release of glucocorticoids. As we increase our exercise intensity and duration, ACTH release increases. However, there's a smaller response after training. And that is where we're going to end for the anterior pituitary.